Dante's Boxing Nation, what's going on, guys? So it looks like Billy Joe Saunders is calling out Gennady Golovkin. He basically said he wanted Golovkin next, assuming he gets past his next opponent, Bursak, and of course Golovkin gets past his next opponent, Dominic Wade. You know, you have a lot of different fighters, obviously, when it comes to their mentality. Because you have some fighters that can be accused of ducking, avoiding the best competition in their division, and then the pressure gets put on them through social media sites, all different types of major boxing websites, and no matter how much pressure is put on them, they still don't step up. They ignore the stuff. I mean, it may bother them, but they don't even think to take the challenge. Why? Because deep down, they feel that that's too much of a risk to fight that guy, the big bad wolf in their division, right? And then you have other type of fighters who get pressured by the media, and it actually affects them so much to where they say, hey, wait a minute. These guys are trying to call me a coward. These guys are trying to challenge my manhood. This is what happened with the Canelo versus Edeslani Lara situation. Canelo had no interest, and Oscar De La Hoya, they had no interest in putting Canelo in the ring with Edeslani Lara because they felt Lara was too much of a threat, right? And then all of a sudden, at one of Canelo Alvarez's post-fight conferences, Lara jumps on the stage and he challenges Canelo to his face. Once he did that, word spread quickly through all of the social media websites, Twitter, Instagram, everything, right? Now Canelo is reading these comments. But the comments that affect Canelo the most are the comments from his own country, Mexico. He has Mexican fans saying, why are you not fighting Lara? Why you let this man jump on the stage like that and call you out and you ain't gonna fight this man? I mean, this is the type of comments that Canelo Alvarez was receiving. And what did Canelo Alvarez do? He said, oh, hell no. I'm not going to have my own countrymen calling me a punk, saying that I'm afraid and I'm this and I'm that. He calls up Oscar and he says, Oscar, make the fight. And as reluctant as Oscar was to make that fight, he had to do it because Canelo wanted it. So that's how we got that fight. And the point that I'm making is, even though there's no guarantee we're going to see that fight this year, but I could say Saunders is talking like the Canelo that decided to fight the Edeslani Lara. Because recently, like I said, Billy Joe Saunders, he just said that he wants Gennady Golovkin next. Now you guys have to remember, when he was first asked to fight Golovkin, it sounded like people was asking him to fight King Kong. That's how he responded. Like, oh man, you're going to have to give me $1 zillion, and I don't know if I'm ready for that fight for another 2 years. He was talking crazy when people first asked him the question. But I think it was the backlash that he received that pretty much altered his opinion on taking a fight with Golovkin. I don't think he appreciated all the comments of people saying he's ducking, he's afraid. Like I said before, some fighters, these type of comments affect them differently because they have so much pride. And I think Billy Joe Saunders, he was affected. His pride was affected. So now, long story short, yeah, he's calling him out. Billy Joe Saunders, he just recently said that he told his promoter that he wants Golovkin next. And his promoter, Frank Warren, said, well, if you want Golovkin next, you're going to have to beat Bursak in style. So that's what it is. They're saying, obviously, that's a big stadium fight. That would be a tremendous fight. And even though Golovkin would be the favorite to win the fight, it would still be a step up in competition for Gennady Golovkin. And if he were to go in there and be the first person to knock out Billy Joe Saunders, he would be knocking out an undefeated champion at the time. That would be impressive. And you would have to give Golovkin a lot of credit for that. But at the same time, we're not going to really see Golovkin deal with adversity until he deals with a guy who is his natural size and has a power equivalent to him. If not even the power, a skill set equivalent to his, where it doesn't even have to just be power. Maybe it's the speed. Maybe, that fighter's speed is equivalent to Golovkin's power. And therefore, you have more of a competitive matchup. So obviously, there's no guarantee that Saunders is going to keep his word and he's really going to get in the ring with Golovkin. But I will say this. If I had to bet on who would get in the ring with Golovkin first out of Saunders and Canelo Alvarez, my money would have to be on Saunders because he sounds like he wants to fight Golovkin. Canelo Alvarez, he makes it very clear he has no interest in fighting Golovkin. And it's so crazy because I told you guys this a long time ago. A lot of people were shocked when they heard Canelo recently say that I'm not fighting Golovkin at 160. If he wants to fight me, it has to be at 155. And that's a fight that has to be built up. And he was just making excuse after excuse why he won't fight Gennady Golovkin. And, you had a lot of people talking about this like it was news. But I have been telling you guys this long time ago. I already could tell that Canelo had no interest in fighting against Gennady Golovkin. When Canelo first brought up it'd have to be at 155, that was a dead giveaway. Because one thing I noticed is there was no compromise when Canelo said that he will fight Golovkin only at 155. He didn't say we could fight at 157, we could fight at 158. No, he said 155, and that is it. And then when you consider the fact that Canelo Alvarez, he went in there and he fought Canelo or he fought Cotto, and he looked like he was a light heavyweight in there. He looked like he weighed at least 175 pounds. You're going to tell me you could fight the night of the fight at 175 or 170, but you can't go up 2 or 3 pounds from 155? It doesn't make sense. And if it doesn't make sense, it's because he does not want to fight Gennady Golovkin. We are never going to see Canelo versus Golovkin. You know what? I take that back. The only way we're going to see Canelo versus Golovkin is if Golovkin gets exposed. Even though he may win, he can still get exposed, right? If he puts on a performance where he struggles, where he staggers for the first time, where he gets knocked down and he has to get back up to win, then Canelo Alvarez is going to fight him. This kind of reminds me of the De La Hoya versus Fernando Vargas situation. If you guys remember, Fernando Vargas coming up, he was a beast. Fernando, when he was undefeated, very good champion, very good fighter. And Fernando Vargas, he hated Oscar De La Hoya. He called out Oscar De La Hoya throughout his entire career. Talked about his disdain that he had for Oscar De La Hoya. He became a world champion. He started to fight the same opponents that Oscar De La Hoya had already beat just to make a comparable statement. And every single time Fernando Vargas would call out Oscar De La Hoya, you know what Oscar De La Hoya would say? He would say, nah, man, because that guy is talking bad about me, saying all this stuff about me. I would never let someone like that make money off of me. So you had a tough, undefeated, really good boxer, great amateur pedigree, went to the Olympics just like Oscar De La Hoya. He just didn't win the gold medal. But you had an outstanding boxer at the time, Fernando Vargas, who is calling out Oscar De La Hoya. Oscar De La Hoya does not want to fight Fernando Vargas, right? Then all of a sudden, and I remember this like it was yesterday, guys. Fernando Vargas, he fights against Tito Trinidad. Now remember, Oscar De La Hoya had previously fought Trinidad and lost to Trinidad because Oscar De La Hoya, he was so worried about Trinidad's power that Oscar De La Hoya, he decided to, people talk about people running today, but what Oscar De La Hoya did in the Trinidad fight, it was literally running in the ring, okay? People today, somebody just stand in front of a fighter and move their head, and, well, at least fighters on the coincidental list do it, like, Floyd Mayweather or someone like that. but they'll just stand in front of somebody and just move their head, use waist movement, and decaps will still say they're running. But what Oscar De La Hoya did against Trinidad was the true definition of running in the ring. So anyway, Oscar De La Hoya loses the fight to Trinidad. Fernando Vargas, the warrior that he is, he decides he's going to get in the ring with Tito Trinidad, and he's going to make a statement in contrast to Oscar De La Hoya. Fernando Vargas gets in there, he puts on a great performance, but he gets knocked out. He gets knocked out by Trinidad. He gets knocked down about 5 times. It turned out to be a great fight, but he gets knocked out by Tito Trinidad. I'm going to tell you guys exactly what I said the night I was watching that fight live. Right after Fernando Vargas got knocked out, I turned to all my friends that was watching the fight, and I said, mark my words, Oscar is going to say, you know what, I changed my mind. I'll fight that guy, Fernando Vargas. I'll fight him now. This is exactly what I told my friends. And I bullshit you not, guys. Within the next 2 weeks, from the time that Vargas got knocked out, Oscar De La Hoya was saying, I'll fight him. I'll fight Fernando Vargas. I got no problem fighting him. Oh, now Oscar De La Hoya didn't mind Fernando Vargas making money off of him now that he done got knocked out, right? So I tell you guys all of this because I feel the same thing will happen with Canelo Alvarez. Canelo Alvarez, he ain't going to fight a Gennady Golovkin unless Gennady Golovkin either loses or Gennady Golovkin looks very bad in one of his fights. So let's see what happens with Joe Saunders and Golovkin. And that's all I got for now, guys. I'm on to the next one.